Hey everyone, this is Nidhi from Designhill and your host for the day. I hope you guys are keeping well and safe. I would like to welcome you all for this panel discussion where we're going to discuss all things Instagram. Yes, it's going to be a fun discussion, and we're going to discuss some nice marketing strategies to grow your followers and profit on Instagram. Today's event is brought to you by Designhill, world's leading creative marketplace that caters to the creative needs of businesses and individuals alike, who can source high quality designs from professional designers and buy unique products from independent artists. Through its print on demand marketplace called PrintShop by Designhill, you can also buy 50 plus unique products with thousands of artworks created by a world class community of independent artists. So, moving ahead, let me introduce our speakers for today. We have with us Dhariana Lozano. Dhariana is an New York based social media consultant and speaker who's helping entrepreneurs, brands, and businesses create social media strategies that work and leverage the power of social media to grow online. She is also the co founder of boutique social media agency called Block and Av, with a decade of experience spanning across many industries from B2B to B2C. She is passionate about everything social media and marketing related. She loves helping businesses and individuals grow and thrive online and beyond. Dariana, would you want to say a quick hi to the audiences?
Everyone. I see so many people from all around the world, and I'm really excited to chat with Sam and everyone in here.
We are equally elated to have you on board, Ariana. Up next, we have Sam Klein. Sam has been delivering social media training to organizations for now 10 years, working in house with marketing and sales teams. She recently launched a membership site called Planet Social Media to help small businesses grow using social media. She also speaks regularly at business events worldwide about the use of social media for business. Sam, very happy to have you on board. Please say hi to the audience.
Hello, everyone. I'm loving seeing all these different countries around the world. It's brilliant. I'm in Manchester, by the way, in the UK. So, yeah, I'm sure you've all got much lovelier weather than we have right here, but we'll pretend. We'll pretend we're in the tropics somewhere warm right now. Someone there's in the Bahamas. I'll pretend I'm in the Bahamas.
Yes, thank you so much, Sam, for being here with us today. And we already have 67 participants with us right now, which is a really good sign. And we are hoping that many more people join us for this event. All right. Thank you, Sam and Dariana, once again. So, guys, before we start the session, here is the big announcement. We are giving away certificates to the attendees who would stick till the end of the panel discussion. You just can't miss on this chance. And so, please stay tuned till the end. Also, you can take the screenshot of this event and post it on your Instagram story and tag DesignhillDH and Sam's and Ariana's Instagram handles, which my team would be putting up in the chat section for you to copy from. One lucky winner will have a chance to win a PS gift card worth $50. That's huge. Along with that, as a gesture of appreciation that you could join us for this event, we will be sharing some special offers for you. Keep an eye on the chat section to get the same. All right, so before we start the session, let's quickly look at what Design Hill is all about.
Looking to get your boss to remember your name? Head to the world's #1 creative marketplace, Designhill.
When my company promoted me to head up our latest real estate development project, I was excited, then anxious, then petrified. How was I going to hire the team, get the designs completed, and design beautiful presentation materials on our lean budget while impressing my bosses, some of whom are still learning my name?
Good job, Mitch.
My name's Lawrence. That's why I went to Designhill and got the design help I needed that fit within my company's brand guidelines. The process was simple. Designhill's design contest ensured I'd get a ton of results I'd love. Start by picking a number of designs that inspire you. This one's good, and that one. This one speaks to me. Then share some information about the project. Lastly, pick a package that fits your budget. Do you just want a logo, or do you want it all? Then, boom. I got more than 60 custom design options to choose from, as well as all the other graphic design assets I wanted. And it's all backed by Designhill's 100% money-back guarantee. If I don't find a design I like, I get my money back. You can't lose. Now I have what I need to make a splash in my meetings. With everything from business cards, pamphlets, posters, and more. It's real.
Let the world know it's real and build your brand with Designhill.
All right, so that was all about Design Hill, and now we are all set to start the session. We will take up questions during the session, guys. So if you have any, please feel free to drop them in the questions tab and not in chat section, because there it tends to get lost. So in the questions tab. Thank you so much for being here, for being a lovely audience here. So Sam and Dhariana, I'm going to start with talking about the commonly known parameter of one's Instagram's growth, which is the number of followers. Speaking of which, we see a lot of contests and giveaways these days being held to gain followers and increase visibility for oneself. And there are these follow for follow practices that are happening. My question to you is that, do you think it is an ethical way of gaining or retaining visibility and followers? Because in a way, we are buying followers. What do you think about it, Sam?
I mean, it depends which way you run it, I guess. You know, the thing about running contests and giveaways is if you're giving away something that is highly relevant to your audience, such as your own product or service, then you're going to attract the right people to that giveaway. So I think in that sense, it is absolutely fine to do. It definitely is ethical. However, if you're going down the route of let's just build an audience with anyone, we want millions of followers, doesn't matter who they are, let's do follow for follow, let's give away iPads, MacBooks, a house, a car, whatever, you know, that would attract anybody, that's completely different and it doesn't work. It definitely doesn't work for businesses, doesn't work for influencers, doesn't work for anyone, because those people will not carry on engaging with you after and having conversation with you after. They'll kind of enter the contest and then run. Whereas if you attract the right audience and then you continue to create content that appeals to them, actually a giveaway is a really good way of doing that.
Right, I completely agree with you, and I would also want to know what Dhariana thinks of it. Adding to what Sam said, should there be a demarcation at what point this may start and this may stop? I mean, I'm talking about doing giveaways and contests on Instagram. So, Dhariana, what do you think about it?
Yes, I completely agree with Sam. If it's a random prize, it's not going to work for you. You're just going to get anyone. And also, if you work with an influencer, you have to make sure that they're also someone that the people that you want to enter will follow and resonate with, and that their audience aligns with who you want to attract. Because if that's not aligned, then you're going to get just a bunch of random people again. I don't think, speaking about limits on contests, I don't think you should do it too often, but it all depends on what your goals are, I think.
Right. And also, if as someone, I have a good idea, but not necessarily money to give away all those MacBooks or any kind of giveaway to the people. My next follow-up question is actually that only, that, do you think with these contests and giveaways actually taking place on Instagram on such a huge level, do you think it undermines the value of meaningful content that is there, or the value or purpose someone intends to generate? So do you think it kind of takes away from people who may have a good idea and good content, but not necessarily money to hold giveaways, and that can maybe put them back in the race? Dhariana, we'll start with you. Yes.
Sure. I think, again, what Sam said, if you are attracting the right people and then creating content that's going to keep them around, I think that's the right way to think about it and approach it. So I don't think that it would undermine necessarily the content itself. Again, if you're attracting the right people, it all comes back to the audience that you've brought into your network now.
All right. So Sam, your 2 cents on this?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think there's, it doesn't undermine it at all. And if you can't do contests and giveaways, it doesn't mean you can't have success on Instagram either. You absolutely can. You just need to make sure you're really aware of who the audience is you're trying to attract, and then that you tune into the kind of conversations they're having, the kind of content that's appealing to them, and create content that does exactly that. And then they will engage with it. You don't have to give away something in order to get them to actually comment on your posts and engage with your content. And at the end of the day, you've got to think about what your end goal is. So if your end goal is to generate business or to monetize it as an influencer, then, is a contest an essential part of that? Absolutely not.
Fair enough, fair enough. So, continuing this conversation, could you please share some, ways, organic ways of acquiring and maintaining a community on Instagram? What is the surefire way to grow your followers and keep them? Some pointers on that, Dariana.
Sure. So I think the fastest way would be to work with an influencer. But again, it has to be the right influencer. So that may take a little bit of research. I think that's the quickest way, and that you can grow organically without spending money. Um, Again, if that influencer is aligned and their audience is aligned with what your goals are and what you want to do, then work with an influencer. I think that's the quickest and easiest of tactics you can use.
Okay, so you said that we should someone should find an influencer who identifies who you identify with your idea and content. So and you talked about research. So what are some ways that you can research? Obviously we can go through articles that are there on internet and figure out, but it is also about how you convince that particular influencer to collaborate with you so that you grow, tapping on their influence. So how does one go about that?
Yeah, I think that's paying attention to the influencer and then looking at their audience as well. So it might take a long time, but when I stumble upon an influencer, I take a look at what kind of content they create. I take a look at the audience and who's responding. Does it seem like it's organic? Does it seem like it might be just the same people commenting over and over? And then, to pitch an influencer, you have to just open the conversation. Some will work just for like an exchange, or maybe you can give them a product of yours or service that they can give away to their audience, so it adds value for them. So there's different ways to work with influencers, but you're not going to know until you actually message them and reach out to them how they like to work.
Right, Sam, we would want to hear from you as well. She said that Dhariana said that research and zeroing down on the right influencers is the fastest way maybe to grow on Instagram. What do you think about it? I mean, and in addition to obviously reaching out to the right influencers for your page, what are the other ways that one can resort to?
So yeah, absolutely. Influencer marketing will definitely help. I think other ways are really putting a lot of effort into it. I think a lot of people start Instagram, post one thing, kind of back out for a week, post another thing, back out for a week. If you're just starting out and you want to do it rapidly, you need to be sharing content every day, and in particularly focusing on the content that is the most relevant content right now, and that's Reels. Without a doubt, Reels are getting the most airtime on Instagram. They're getting the most reach, and they're also getting shared. What you really want to do is get your audience sharing your content, because if they're sharing it out with their audience, that is obviously going to help to get you in front of more people. So, I mean, it doesn't work for every brand, business, influencer, but humorous reels right now. I know when I'm looking through my stories, there are so many funny reels being shared that if you can create some funny reels and get those shared across the board, then that will really help. And I think the other thing that really helps that people forget is Instagram, like all the others, is a social network, which means you have to socialize with people. It's not just about posting great content. It's actually going and engaging with people. Now, if you spent several hours every day going and starting conversations with people in DMs, commenting on their posts, that will definitely speed things up for you rather than just posting.
Right. You emphasize on the importance of engagement, and it is really something. So you can have 10,000 followers, and you're interacting maybe with just 50 of them, and as compared to you have, let's say, only 10,000 followers, but you're interacting with on a daily basis. So to, let's say, 1,000, 5,000 on a daily basis, which again is a higher figure, but it's about maintaining that ratio, and so that nobody in your community, Instagram community, feels left out. So yes, engagement really matters a lot.
Absolutely.
Great. So we're gonna get a little technical now. There were a lot of questions that were being asked about Instagram algorithms, and we all know about hashtags and posting consistently on a daily basis, on a regular basis rather. So sorry. So apart from viral hashtags and posting consistently, are there any secrets around Insta algo that we should all know? Dariana, we'll start with you.
This is a good question because a lot of people, I think, look for the trick, the one thing that's going to push them over. And, I don't think there's one specific thing. I think it's a combination of everything. So it's definitely what Sam mentioned about engaging. So maybe before you post and right after you post, you can go in and engage with hashtags that are relevant to your audience and comment on those posts, like them. Tactics like that, I think you can integrate, but it really is a synergy of all the parts. So posting on stories regularly, using the location tags and hashtags in your stories in conjunction with, posting consistently, using the right hashtags. I think it all works together. But really, to think that there's just one thing you can do that's going to throw you over the edge, I think is not realistic. Sam, I'm sure you will add to that as well. I'm sure you have some tactics that
I completely agree. I completely agree. People think they can beat the algorithm by just posting content, and
Right.
It doesn't work. You have to do so much more than just post content. If you look at every part of what you can do on Instagram, so obviously, like you say, you've got stories, you've got IGTV, you've got reels, you've got the post itself, you've got being in DMs, you've got people interacting with your stories. So, running polls on your stories, for example, and getting them to engage with your stories will really help. You really have to use every moving part in Instagram to help boost your position or your kind of standing in the algorithm. It's not a case of post one thing and boom, it goes viral. You do have to put some effort into it. I mean, at the end of the day, if it was easy, we'd all be making millions from it, wouldn't we? But you have to put some time and effort into it to make it work. And probably the other thing I'd add to that is, engagement is such a huge part of it that you kind of need to encourage your audience to engage. You need to include some kind of call to action. So it's amazing. Like if you just simply say in your post, click the save button to come back to this later, people click it. If you don't tell them to save, then you see far fewer people actually save your posts. So just adding that little call to action that tells them, hey, how about you do this? Or even just saying things like comment below and let me know what you think, or asking them a question. It makes all the difference in kind of getting the engagement up on your post, which will really help the reach of that post as well.
Right. So my key takeaway is, being an Instagram freak till now, is posting consistently, using the relevant hashtags, engagement, and now Sam just added giving them a CTA. So thank you so much. I'm building up my list. I'm sure the audiences are also building up their notes. They're taking their notes and they're kind of taking note of everything that these two experts are telling us. So we were talking about Instagram algorithm, and there was this quickie question by one of the registrants. In fact, actually, one of the last registrants who registered with us. He asked that does the age of an Instagram account also matters while they use a particular hashtag? So someone like me, I have joined today Instagram and I've used one very viral hashtag, as compared to someone who has been on Instagram for, let's say, 6 months or 1 year. The algorithm is such that someone who has been there on Instagram for a longer period of time will kind of rank up higher when it comes to virality of that particular post that they have posted. Is there something like that?
Kind of. I guess it doesn't necessarily come down to the time you've spent on the platform as much as how much your audience has interacted and engaged with you. So obviously, time served means you're going to have seen more interaction from your audience, and that has a real weighting in sort of where you appear on that top hashtag feed. And then, of course, how many people are actually interacting and taking an interest with that particular post. So obviously, again, time served is going to kind of benefit you, because you're going to have probably a bigger audience and people have interacted regularly with you. So it's not necessarily the case that it can't happen in the early days. It's not typical, because you haven't necessarily built up the audience yet, or built up the interaction and relationship with your audience yet.
All right. So John was the one who asked us this question. I hope, John, you're there in the live attendees and have heard how Sam have answered it. So next is a very straightaway question, Sam and Dhariana. Though Dhariana has kind of answered it previously, I'm going to still ask this. So if I want to start a page today, with a good idea and content, how long will it take for me to grow it? Also, at what point do you think I can monetize it? I mean, everyone, I know that people who have joined us, they have wanted to know that, at what point they can monetize their Instagram account or their idea or content. And, so please throw some light on it, Dariana.
I think you can start monetizing right away. I mean, there's people that have very small audiences and they're able to monetize, and there's people that have like hundreds of thousands of followers, but they're not making money. And I think it comes down to what Sam mentioned, which is those calls to action. If you don't ask for the sale, if you don't ask for the question, if you don't interact, people are not going to buy from you. You have to let them know what you have, and then you have to ask them to buy it from you. And along the way, you create content to educate them about your products or services. So really, the number of followers doesn't really matter. How young your account might be doesn't really matter. I think it's more about how you position yourself. So you can start making money right away, really, like, realistically.
All right, I kind of agree to it, but I just wanted to understand from you that what you have said is for someone or a business who have a product or service to sell. How about someone who necessarily have not started thinking that they would monetize one day on Instagram, but eventually, since their followership has built up over the months and over time, what are the possible ways for them to kind of start monetizing on? I mean, should they necessarily start selling a service or something? Or I've also seen a lot of people who have high following promoting someone else's product, and that's another way of monetizing again. So how many
Yes.
possible ways are there to monetize? So I wanted to actually throw some light, want you to throw some light on that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you mentioned, there's a lot of sponsorship opportunities. A
Yeah.
lot of businesses are, looking for influencers, even smaller micro influencers, because someone with like under 5,000 followers usually is
Yeah.
considered a micro influencer. And we find that their engagement rates are usually a little bit higher. They know their audience a little bit more because there's less of them. So someone like that can start to promote a product or service of someone else's right away. There's also, you can come up with something on your own. There's just endless ways. It really depends on what the person wants to do.
Right. Right. Sam, we would want to hear from you as well on this.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, at the end of the day, it depends what you're trying to get out of it. So if you do want sponsorship deals and you want businesses to pay you to talk about them, then obviously they're not going to do that when you've just started out and you've got a very small following. And like Dhariana said, there are varying degrees of this in terms of how much businesses are prepared to pay and then how much influencers actually want to receive. If you went to Kim Kardashian and said, I'll give you $2,000 to post about my product, then, well, I don't think it would be her saying no, but her team would instantly just go, not a chance. Whereas if you approached a micro influencer and said, I'll pay you $2,000 to promote my product, they'd be like, wow, this is amazing. So if it's influencing and sponsorship deals, then obviously there is a little bit of time and effort, and you do need to build up a following and build that relationship with your audience. In terms of being a business, if you're starting out on there, I mean, technically, you can make money straight away because, let's say, for example, you've lost your job because of COVID, you were, an administrator, you've decided you're going to set up at home on your own as a virtual administrator. And then you jump on Instagram and you start chatting to people straight away in their DMs. And someone says, actually, I need an administrator. And you've got like 5 followers, but that person is one of them. And, that's how it starts, isn't it? It's not necessarily about numbers. It's just getting going, basically.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. And thank you so much for your insights. We have a lot of questions in the questions tab, and I was just giving a cursory glance. We already have around 10 to 15 questions. So let's um, take up a few questions. Okay. So we have covered a few of them. So this one is the topmost question by MJ. Is there a connection, or is it better in changing your Instagram shop account to a business account to get visibility? or get engagement. So I think he wants to know if it is a good idea to change your Instagram shop account to a business account, and probably what is the difference between the two. Can you guys see the first question by MJ in the questions tab?
Yeah. I mean, well, you'd have to have either a business or creator account anyway to run an Instagram shop. So it wouldn't, I don't think, I'm pretty certain you can't just do it from a personal account, because you'd have to have it tied in anyway to a business Facebook account. So I'm not sure about switching it. I presume you mean from a creator to a business account, because you would have to be one or the other to have an Instagram shop. In terms of visibility between the two, between creator and business, I mean, there is a kind of a rumor that creators get less engagement. Whether it's actually true or not, I mean, you know, I've spoke to a few people who switched to creator accounts and it made zero difference in terms of their visibility and their engagement. So I'm not sure whether, you know, I actually haven't spoken to anyone yet who's found a drop when they switched from business to creator. And I do know a lot of people have done it recently, because businesses haven't been allowed the music option, whereas creators have. So a lot of businesses have jumped over to being creators so that they can have music on their reels and stories. And yeah, no one I know has seen a drop. So I think as long as you're not running a personal account, then yeah, if it's a creator account, there's no need necessarily to switch, is my view anyway.
All right, so which means that it is actually a rumor and you should not be bothered by it. Dhariana, do you have anything different to add to it?
100% agree with Sam. I don't think that there's much of a difference. So,
and I did not know that businesses do not have the music option. Maybe because I do not have a business account, maybe, but I'll check it out as soon as possible.
Yeah, and and the features change too. I think in the US, businesses do have music. I've just been having conversations with different people. It's interesting to see how each country has kind of different things happening. So
it's so frustrating when you're trying to work out what the issue is and you realize actually in the US they can do that, but we can't.
Right, exactly.
Great. So here is another question by Preeta and Dhariana. I would want you to answer this. We got a lot of save for our post, but less engagement. That is comment. We have used the call to action button. Example, share your opinion here. Is there anything else that might help us for the engagement? I think, you know, the engagement section is getting highlighted again and again. So Dhariana.
These people found it interesting enough to maybe want to come back to it later. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. If you're using the calls to action, I usually will just keep using calls to action. Sometimes your audience has to get used to you asking questions and them answering. So it doesn't always work right away, but if you keep doing it, people will start to answer. One way you can kind of get people to start is if you have employees, maybe have them answer the question in the comments, and then other people will catch on like, okay, yeah, we're supposed to answer the question. So those are little tactics that I would use to kind of drum up the engagement there. What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, I agree. And I'd probably also add, just make sure you're making it really easy for them to get engaged. So if you're saying share your opinion, but actually that opinion is so difficult to put across in a post or a comment, then they might not share their opinion. Whereas if it's really straightforward for them to answer the question, then they'll answer the question. So, you know, if it's a this or that answer or answering with an emoji, I know it's much better to have kind of more meaningful comments. But in terms of getting initial engagement, you know, even if you're asking them to answer with an emoji or, you know, answer with like 3 or 4 words, or just make it super simple for them. I think a lot of the time when you don't get engagement, it's often because what you're asking them is just, it's just too much effort for them. You know, at the end of the day, yeah, a lot of people are just passively scrolling through Instagram and they might not want to write out an essay about what their opinion is on something. So just make it as easy as possible for them, I think, is important as well.
Right. And personally, what I have experienced, it's a very small difference that, you know, giving a CTA button in the text that follows after a picture and giving a CTA into the picture itself makes a lot of difference, because that's where it gets highlighted the most. It's a very obvious and, you know, general thing, but it actually made a lot of difference when I was handling my Instagram account. So yes, That makes a lot of sense, and thank you so much for your insights. We have a very important question by Preeta again, and in fact, she has highlighted one of the very important concerns with respect to giveaways and contests that we were talking about at the start of the session. She says, giveaway totally works for growing my company followers, but when the giveaway ends, the followers numbers also decreases rapidly. Do you have any solution? Because I see a lot of people facing this problem. Dhariana,
Oh, sorry,
Sam,
Sam.
please go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, if they're going to unfollow you straight away, they're not the right people anyway. So you've got to ask yourself, are you attracting the right people to your giveaway? And then also, is the rest of your content going to appeal to those people, which is kind of what we talked about before. It's not just about having the right giveaway, it's then following it up with content that you know is going to really appeal to them. And also just like sparking the relationship with them and the conversation with them. So doing things like maybe sending a DM to everyone who entered the giveaway and just thanking them for entering the giveaway, and that, you know, maybe saying you hope they stick around, that you've got lots more to come, you know, and the kind of things you're going to be sharing, or ask them a question. I think that's always a good thing, to just get a conversation going with them. You know, thanks so much for entering the giveaway. You know, what was it about the prize that, you know, attracted you? Or just asking them things like, you know, how's your day been? We're really sorry we couldn't brighten it up by saying that you're a winner this time, but hopefully next time. And those little steps to just spark the relationship with them, rather than it just being about come and follow us and now we're happy you're here. Like, you know, we're not bothered anymore because now we can look at our Instagram follower numbers and go, wow, we've increased by 1,000 followers. You know, you've got to make it about more than just follower numbers. You've got to make it about actually wanting that audience and wanting the relationship with that audience.
Right. Dhariana, do you have anything to add to that?
Matt said it perfectly. I think a lot of the times when we think about social media, it feels like people are still thinking about collecting, when you have to now put a little bit more effort in and really try to talk to people and go out of your way. And I think that's key. It's just remember that these are like, you have to think of them almost like your friends. Like, what would you do if you wanted to make a friend? You wouldn't just have them come over and just sit there with you, you know? You would try to engage with them, try to connect with them, things that you have in common, start conversations. So I think that's really important what Sam just said.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it is, I mean, it's just my view that, you know, it is also about setting the right expectations for your own self. I mean, if with a giveaway you are targeting, you know, there should be some expectations set with you that, okay, fine, with this giveaway, I'm expecting at least, let's say 2,000 more followers. But how many relevant followers do I need? And that's something that I would understand and know when I'm sieving through all the people who have maybe interacted on that particular post of giveaway, and then actually understanding if you know, how many followers amongst them you know, would relate and identify with the content that I will put on my Instagram channel. So it's also about you know, setting your own expectations with a particular giveaway or contest. So guys, thank you so much for such amazing questions. These are the questions that, you know, we wouldn't have covered if you wouldn't have asked this here. And we are sorry, midway through the session, and we're gonna quickly take a mid-roll here. And I hope you guys are enjoying the session. Before we move forward, I would like to give a quick shout out to Designhill for organizing this event. Stay tuned, and we will be right back to hear more from Sam and Dhariana.
Clarematics is a full-service video agency based around video production. We created a brand that fit our identity at the time, but as we've evolved as a company, we found that original brand didn't quite fit our aspirations anymore. Finding a partner to rebrand your entire company takes a lot of time and effort. Finding Designhill was an incredible lifeline. Designhill offers a money-back guarantee. If we don't like any of the designs, we get all of our money back. The stuff that we ended up with were well beyond what we had been seeing on other creative services platforms. After creating a simple design brief by answering some questions created by Designhill, we posted, and within a few days, we had over 250 entries. Designhill's platform made it easy to communicate with all of the potential designers. Eventually, we picked a winner. In addition to a logo, our designer also created a letterhead, business cards, and banners for all of our social media platforms. With Designhill's help, we now have a brand that meets our aspirations. We're ready for the future and everything that it's here to bring.
All right, we are back again, and let's continue with the session. Um, so this question, Sam and Ariana, is again from one of the registrants, not one of the registrants. In fact, questions on the same line were being asked time and again in last 10 to 15 days of promotion period. So here is the question: how is the new Instagram shopping feature can help build businesses? Because there tends to be less education about it. And what are the kind of features and what kind of businesses do you think will benefit more? Is it for everyone? Dariana, we'll start with you.
Sure. I love the shop feature. I'm not sure if anyone else here has experienced it, but here they've switched over the bottom part of Instagram. So now where the like used to be is a little shopping button, which drives me a little bit crazy because I'm not used to it. But I think for a business that has a product, I think it's amazing that they're putting an emphasis on getting people to shop. It's very easy. You click on it and either, the button either takes you straight to a checkout right through Instagram or it takes you to the website for the company whose product you clicked on. So if you're a product-based business, I think it's great. You're going to get a lot more visibility. Instagram has a shop account where they highlight small businesses, which is also amazing. So yeah, I think it's a great time to be a small product-based business on Instagram. I don't think that you can use shop for service-based businesses. I don't know if they're going to change that down the line, but it's just right now for products.
All right. Thank you, Dariana. Sam, your addition to that?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think if you sell products, you would be mad not to make sure that you can use the shop feature because, yeah, as Dhariana said, the fact that they've changed the layout now means we're constantly clicking on the shop. And obviously there's going to be down the line, I can imagine there's a lot of different features that Instagram are going to put into place about, taking maybe a good chunk of the money that is sold that from the product sales. So I think use it while you can. So yeah, definitely get involved with that. And I think now they're introducing it into stories as well. So the number of shopping features is insane. Like my sister runs a high-end jewelry business in London and they pretty much make all their sales now through Instagram. As soon as the celebrity wears them, they just go and tag them in a post, and then it just goes crazy. So whenever I visit her, you can just hear her phone going with orders. It's absolutely crazy. So I think without a doubt, if you sell a product, you have to have a shop on Instagram.
Great. And we also have a fun question actually. I picked it up this morning only. So someone asks that they have heard that only good and attractive pictures survive on Instagram. So if someone has, let's say, plumbing business, is it the right place for them to to kind of grow their business on Instagram? And I found it really funny, but it makes a lot of sense to ask this because Instagram is I'm so it could be a rumor again, or it could I may not make sense while saying this, but I find Instagram largely visually stunning. And the most the pictures, the reels now and the IGTV videos which are visually stunning, they tend to get more response and engagement. That's for sure. So someone, let's say with a plumbing business, is it the right place for them or not? Sam, you would want to start?
I'll take that up. It can be. I think it depends. It 100% depends what you're sharing pictures of. At the end of the day, any business can share really dull, boring pictures. That's the reality. If I was a plumber going into people's homes, I'd be making sure that they see my face all the time and they get to know me, the person, because that's going to really help you build relationships, as opposed to sharing a picture of, I'm not a plumber, but I don't know, a U-bend or something. Not necessarily sharing like the pictures of what you're up to, but actually sharing pictures of you. I think you could create some really fun content. Actually, if you're a plumber, you could create some really funny reels. You could add some humor into it. And then again, it just also comes back to engaging with people. Something like a plumbing business is quite a local business. So you don't necessarily need a huge following. You just need a local following. So I think you could become like a mini local celebrity through Instagram quite easily. And I also think there's opportunity wherever people go, well, I'm not going on that because plumbers don't use it or this business doesn't use it. Then it's like, brilliant, let me through. There's a gap here for me to put myself into because my competition aren't bothering. So yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, you've just got to remember it's a visual platform. You know, mine and Dhariana's businesses aren't particularly visual either. You know, there's not a heck of a lot we can take pictures of, but I find, you know, if just sharing a picture of myself really helps people get to know me. I always make sure I've got a nice big smile on and just a warming, come and talk to me kind of approach. And I think why would plumbing be any different to that?
Right, right. And you know, yes, please, Dhariana, please say.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and there's things about, if you have a business that's a little bit more on the boring side, or you don't think it's that interesting, you have to think about, like, we don't know what happens behind the scenes. Like, I don't know about plumbing, right? So there might be something interesting that happens in your day that you don't think is interesting because you do it every day. But to other people can be super interesting. And so that goes, you have to kind of step back from yourself and put yourself in your audience's shoes. And like Sam said, for a plumber, like, let me show your face, let me get to know you. You're going to work in my home. So I want to feel like I know you and I can trust you. And that's especially true, like Sam mentioned, for a local business. It's not so much about creating beautiful images, but like videos. You can create really easy videos from your phone. Maybe there was like a crazy leak. Maybe you fixed it. You can show that. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity. You just have to kind of think outside of just taking pictures of what you do. You have to kind of take a step back from that and think beyond.
Yeah.
Right. I completely agree. And you both have actually emphasized on the importance of storytelling, that no matter how boring the product is, you can always build a story around it and show what that particular business has to offer to people. And the reason why I quoted plumbing business is because it was right there, in my questions list. So hence, the idea was to, highlight businesses that people think are not meant for Instagram. But I think, again, graphics and storytelling, reels now, IGTV videos, they can make a lot of difference no matter what your business is, and there is always a chance.
Yes.
All right. So another question by a lot of registrants was, so a lot of the business community at Designhill, they are majorly first-time entrepreneurs. They are early age startups. So a lot of people asked, for your recommendation around the marketing strategy for a startup company with a limited budget. So if you can throw some light on that. Sam, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing is social media is free. You don't have to spend a penny. If you've got a smartphone, you've got the ability to take pretty good images now, and then there's loads of free apps anyway to improve the look of those images. You can take videos, you can even have subtitled videos for free. In terms of actually using it, I don't think money needs to be a barrier. And I think that's one of the joys of social media, particularly obviously with all that's going on in the world at the moment. I think, businesses more than ever are realizing that as long as they put some effort behind it, then that's all they need to throw behind it. They don't have to throw money behind it. And obviously, as with anything when it comes to marketing, investing some money does really help. But it isn't an essential with social media, which is such a great thing about it. If you put in the effort to figure out what your audience wants, and then the time to engage with them and build conversation and build relationships and put out, images that will appeal to them, even if they're only taken on your phone, then actually, there's nothing holding you back. You don't need to spend much money on it at all.
Yeah.
All right. I guess. Right. Please, Dhariana, say. I'm really sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. I just completely agree. I get so excited about, small businesses and social media, which is why I started my business and consulting, is because you don't need a ton, just a little bit of knowledge, some direction, knowing your audience and what they need, and you can get started. Like Sam said, our phones are pretty good nowadays when it comes to capturing videos and photos. So you don't need more than your cell phone really to get started. And all the apps, there's free designing apps and video apps and editing, and you can pretty quickly learn how to do things on your own. I think eventually you might get to the point where you might want to bring in an expert if you want to grow exponentially or increase what you've been doing. But to get started, you really just need your phone, which is the beauty of it.
Absolutely. And so you addressed businesses who may have some money to invest and who may not have money to invest. But let's talk a bit about businesses who would have some money to invest, and let's talk about Instagram ads a bit more. So what Instagram ads are all about and how do they function. B, how are they different from Facebook ads and the general Google ads that we run for businesses? Dhariana, can we start with you?
Sure, yeah. So I think social media ads are really effective. I personally like to use the Facebook Manager to create ads because there are more options for who you can target. If you hit boost on Instagram, it kind of limits you somewhat, whereas if you go through the ads manager on Facebook, there's a lot more options you can target by age, income bracket, what other pages people like or interact with, if they live in a certain area. And you get a little bit of that in, on the app, but there's just so much more in Facebook Manager. And there's so many different options. You can do video ads, you can do a carousel ad, so you have multiple images if you have more than one item, or maybe it's a collection you're trying to sell. So really, to get started with ads, I would think about what product you want to put out there and what you think the best way to put it out there is. You need a video. Do you need to educate your audience first? So, ads are also a process. Sometimes it's not like the first time you run ads, you might not be successful, you might not get anything, but you have to learn from the ads. So you have to pay attention to what people clicked on, what images they liked more, and then the next time you run the ad, you can optimize and get more for your money and get more results. So there's always ads are just a long process. I just needed to say that because sometimes people think I'm just going to run this ad and get sales. It doesn't always work like that. It might take a little bit of testing to see what works at first, and then you can go back and optimize your budget.
Right. We can always optimize and we can always learn what we did wrong the previous time.
Yes.
And also, also to add to that, I have no degree in running Instagram ads or digital marketing, but I found Instagram ads to not to be very difficult for me, for someone like me, because they were very easy to understand. I really did not think I have to have some digital marketing degree to be able to run those ads. Sam, do you think the same way? I mean, I want you to tell people that it's something that they can do on their own, the small businesses, and they don't have to really hire a big team to do that.
No, and in fact, if you are going to use a big team, it really benefits you if you've already had experience of running the ads yourself and you understand the ad platform and you understand what ads are working for your audience. So even if you think in the future you're going to use a team, I think initially think about how you could do it yourself. And I completely agree with everything Dhariana said. The only thing I'd probably add is don't think about ads only going out to a new audience. You can definitely run ads to a warm audience. So things like people who've been to your website, make sure you've got that pixel code on your website, and then you can retarget them through Instagram. You can target people who follow you. You can target people who engage with you. You can target people who've watched one of your videos. So the warm audiences often are much more likely to buy through your ads than the people who've never heard of you.
Absolutely, I completely agree with that. And so we have another 15-20 minutes in our hands, and I really want to touch upon, in fact, discuss in detail about the most infamous feature right now of Instagram, which is Reels. Right? We all knew about IGTV, and recently we had Reels being introduced by Instagram. And I also had a little buddy telling me that it is in response with the TikTok banning in certain countries and the flag that it received in the past few months. I'm really sorry to be disclosing the name of TikTok, but someone told me that it is in response with TikTok being receiving a lot of flack in countries. Do you guys also think that it is the same way, Dhariana?
Yeah, so I personally love TikTok. I think it was so easy to just keep going and going and going. And I think Instagram thought, oh, this is a new way that people are sharing. This is working, so how do we do it for us? And I mean, they're pushing these Reels really hard. Again, with that change in the layout, we also got that Reels button on the bottom, right? So they're really pushing for it. So when you see the network really pushing for a tool, you should use it. And they're kind of simple to do. I mean, my joke is you point 3 times, like, right in the word bubbles. It can be really simple, right? So I think if you have access to Reels, I know some countries still do not have access to Reels, something to do with the music or whatever that might be. They don't have access yet. But if you do have access, try it. Try it, get used to creating them, because I think that you'll get a lot out of it.
Oh, she's disappeared from
Oh no, we
lost her. I'll carry on anyway.
Carry on.
I completely agree. I think Reels, you have to embrace them now, because Instagram are pushing them so much. But not just that, audiences are loving them. And I don't know if they'd have released them anyway, regardless of the whole ban around TikTok. I think, it was so fast that they probably had them in the works anyway. I don't think it's in response to that necessarily. They might have sped it up to get them out quicker. But that's what Instagram or Facebook in general do, isn't it? They see a concept that works and they roll with it, just like they did. They saw Snapchat working. They introduced Instagram stories. They see TikTok taking off. They introduced Reels. And I think there's a big indicator of what's working for audiences right now, which is very short, quick video content, as opposed to, your IGTVs are over a minute, but your Reels are under 30 seconds. And people love that. Like you say, the scrolling through, you could spend hours video after video.
I love it.
Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, before Reels were introduced, I actually had to delete TikTok in lockdown round 1 because I was spending so long wasting time looking through TikToks, and my kids love them. My kids are constantly doing random dances as well. They absolutely love TikTok. So I think Instagram have just been really smart and seen, well, that works. Let's jump on that bandwagon and introduce it on our platform as well. And it's definitely working for them.
Yeah.
Right. I loved TikTok. It's banned in India as of now, and I love Reels absolutely, because it's quick. You consume. So it has also actually made us understand the importance of what is that we can address in like a limited time. It kind of tells us the importance that things have to be quick, at the same time relevant and important, because you only have limited time to present yourself.
Absolutely.
Right.
Agreed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So another question related to IGTV and Instagram was a very funny one. I found it funny personally because it said that IGTV is becoming YouTube for Instagram. Do you think or foresee it being completely replaced by YouTube itself in future? I found it funny because YouTube is a giant in itself. But nevertheless, I mean, I still found some value, which is the reason why I'm asking you this. Sam, what do you think about it? I mean, do you think, let's say, 10, 20 years down the line, it can replace YouTube?
No, probably not. I mean,
No.
YouTube is the powerhouse of video content, isn't it? And at the end, at the end of the day, YouTube is, it's the second largest search engine in the world. It's not going anywhere without a doubt.
No,
and I think
that
the content that works well on YouTube and IGTV is that content works much better on YouTube it does on IGTV, even though you can have longer videos. Generally, still people would rather watch shorter videos on Instagram than really long videos. So, even though an IGTV is over a minute, you probably don't want to go much over a minute, because people don't want to spend loads of time sat watching IGTV videos. And also, YouTube is our go-to, isn't it, for how to do something. It's where we go. So I don't think IGTV is going to replace YouTube. I think it's really just Instagram acknowledging how much people love video content and having a place for that on Instagram.
Right. Also, I think IGTV is only limited to 10 minutes. The duration of IGTV is around 10 minutes only, and that kinds of create the first and the biggest difference between YouTube and IGTV. Dhariana, do you have anything to add to that? Anything different to add to that?
No, I completely agree. I think just the way that we're used to interacting on the different social media networks, like Sam said, where I'm probably not gonna search for. I know Instagram just introduced a keyword search, which might help IGTV videos eventually. I think right now it's just for posts, but you can't really search things the same way you can search on YouTube. So I don't think it will work unless they change that functionality, but I really doubt anyone will. We're just so used to going to YouTube. That's just, you know if you're gonna go on YouTube, it's gonna be a long thing. They're gonna explain things in detail. My cousin fixed her washing machine based on a YouTube video. I don't think she would do that. I don't think you go to like Instagram. Instagram seems like more fun, but when I go on YouTube, it's because I need more detailed instructions or something like that. So I think it's not going anywhere. I agree with Sam. It's just not the way we use it. Yeah.
All right. So we are actually heading towards the end of the session, and we have a lot more because you're enjoying the session so much. We have a lot more questions in my list and in the questions tab. But I'm gonna end my list and then take the questions in the questions tab. So my last question to you is a very relevant and an important one. We talked about the relevancy of hashtags that we use on our Instagram at the start of the session, and we also know that things get viral very quickly these days. And there have been some of these trends that have happened in past around hashtags like Black Lives Matter and Black and White Photo Challenge. And what we have seen is that they have been misinterpreted and used by majority of people with different context altogether. Do you feel the need of regulating such trends by Instagram so that their meaning and purpose is retained? Because I personally did not like how Black and White Photo Challenge actually became women appreciating each other, whereas it started as something that something unfortunate that has happened in Turkey and about the state of the women there, and it kind of lost all its purpose by the time it reached us. So and it also talks about how empathetic we are towards things that are happening around us. So Dhariana, would you like to tell us your view on that and how Instagram can regulate this?
Yeah, I think, it's interesting because there's so much going on with fact checking and all these regulations that the social media networks have. And I do think that there is a responsibility
Right.
for you as a user, but also not everyone's going to go out of their way to do research. And it happens all the time. I'm sure Sam's seen it too, where someone jumps on a hashtag without really looking and researching how it originated. So maybe even a little, maybe if you click a hashtag, maybe a little information can pop up at the top about what it is. I mean, this might require Instagram or whatever social media network to create a team around figuring this out, because there's so many hashtags out there. It would be great to have the regulation. But we kind of have to do our due diligence and research and really make sure that those hashtags are what you think they are. Don't just see it, assume that it's something. But it would be amazing to actually get a little bit of more deep insight into what a hashtag is if they could do it.
Right, I absolutely agree. Sam, would you like to add to that, please?
Yeah, it would be great. I think it would just be really tricky as well. That's the difficulty, isn't it? So, for example, the black and white photo challenge, like it would be quite tricky for Instagram to kind of go, hang on, no, this isn't what it was about. Because what if kind of worldwide we decided, okay, we've moved on from what it was about, we've moved on to this, and while that is actually frustrating, the audience has kind of spoken. Whereas, is it Instagram's place to speak for them and say, oh no, don't post that, it's actually about this? So yeah, I think there's definitely two parts of it, but I think as users we have to take our own responsibility to do the due diligence. Like you say, there's so many hashtags that are not going to ever be about any kind of political or anything like that. There's so many just everyday hashtags. It's only the odd one, isn't it? It's only the odd one that we have to maybe go, oh, why are we using this? Why is this a thing now? Why is this being raised? What is the issue or the reasoning behind this? And I think, as users, we have to hold a little bit of responsibility. I know Facebook are forever endeavoring, aren't they, to sort out fake news and fact checking and everything. And I think it's getting better, but there's just so much going on that it would be never ending for them, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely agree when you say that, the responsibility lies with us as the users of Instagram, someone who's benefiting from Instagram. It is our responsibility to check the relevancy of anything that we are doing on Instagram and not just use it as a bait to just gain followers and use
Hmm.
hashtags virally everywhere and anywhere. So
Hmm.
I absolutely agree with you both. Time to take some more questions from the questions tab, and we have a lot. I just hope that, taking like 3 4 questions from now on kind of covers everything that our audience wants to listen. We already have around 70 people with us, which is great. So Alex Villases wants to ask, what about hashtag integrity? I caught some fire for using support black businesses on a post because I'm not black, but the client I was featuring in the post is. How do I reply to that, or should I just delete the comments? Should I repeat the question for you?
No, I
Okay.
think,
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you were using it and it had absolutely nothing to do with the hashtag, then absolutely that's lacking hashtag integrity. But to me, that is what the hashtag was about. It was about supporting Black businesses. And if you are creating a post about, this client that you're saying, hey, here's someone who I recommend you use, support Black businesses, then surely integrity. So I think it's well within your rights to maybe go back to people and comment rather than just delete them and just say, I'm sorry you've misinterpreted this, but I'm supporting a Black business with this post, because for me, there's more than enough integrity in that. And you do see a lot of hashtags being very much misused, but
Yeah.
that is definitely not an example of misuse.
Completely.
Yep. Darian, you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I agree. If it seems like from what you're telling us, it would be in line and appropriate. So, don't delete the comments. Like Sam said, just kind of try to show that you care about them, commenting, but also if you're in the right, I mean, that's you can defend yourself, but yeah, don't delete the comments. I think deleting is only for like when things get really nasty or inappropriate or threatening and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Completely agree with what you said, Dariana. Another question by Ingrid. I hope that I'm pronouncing it right. So, any recommendations for travel agencies, posts, promotion offers, and to get people get interested to buy this kind of products we offer, especially in this hard time for the travel and tourism industry? I mean, I'm sure that hospitality is one of the affected industries, most affected industries in the time of pandemic. So,
Yeah.
if there's anything that you can, uh, you know, guide them on, Ingrid is the one who has asked this. Sam?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so tricky. I would say don't put too much emphasis on selling as such and promotions and offers. Instead, I would look more to the future of how can I build up a really loyal following right now when people aren't traveling as much, so that when things get back to normal, because it has to at some point, doesn't it, that those people are going to come straight to me to book their holiday. I think if you firefight it now and go, now we're running this promotion and this and this and this and this, you're going to switch people off because they're just not in that headspace right now. They don't want to take a chance on travel, sad as that really is. I think instead just think of how can I help my audience right now? What kind of posts and how can I create content that my audience is going to resonate with right now? Maybe that's going to help them feel positive about the future. Maybe we could talk about things like what was being your best holiday, where are you going as soon as this is all over, what places are on your travel bucket list, what kind of place in the world are you missing most right now, and have all these conversations with your audience. If you are running promotions anyway, you can throw the odd one in, but I wouldn't have it as post after post after post, just desperately trying to get something out of it. I think right now for any industry that is heavily affected, I think they need to look at their social media as being an investment in the future when everything picks up again, because there are a lot of businesses that have been affected that have kind of just backed away and gone quiet because they don't know what to post, and they're the businesses that are going to be starting from scratch when things pick up again. So I think just be present and build those relationships. And I know it's trick right now, but it will mean you make far more sales in the future.
Right, and I actually am a travel freak myself, and I've seen a lot of travel pages doing well in terms of increasing their followers, if not necessarily selling a service, so to say, because the pandemic has given them time to engage more with their audiences, and you can't travel, but there are books that you can read, and there are discussions that you can you can talk about any particular place that you have visited in past, and there's so many conversation builders, so to say. So if not selling a service, so maybe like you said, it is an investment in future. So yes, I think that there are a lot of things that we can do around it, and not necessarily take pandemic as something that has stopped you from doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we're gonna take the last question. We already have exceeded 10 minutes, and it's a sign that the session has gone really well. So the last session question of the session is for you, Dhariana, and it is around IG's algorithms. Sam is the one who's asking this. The question is, with IG's algorithm, is there a new limit for hashtags? I used as much as 20 hashtags and got a lot of likes earlier. However, it has been less now.
Yeah, so the limit on posts would be 30 hashtags. I think what happens is, at first, obviously, hashtags will bring in a bunch of engagement, but that kind of tends to teeter off as the longer the post is on. So it's not necessarily that it's an algorithm thing. That's kind of just how posts go. At the beginning, you might get a lot. Also, remember that the algorithm doesn't show everything to everyone at once. It will consider how much the initial engagement was, and then it starts to roll it out. It's when the algorithm is so complicated, right? And it's constantly changing and learning. So
Right.
usually what happens is it takes into account how many people interact with it, and it starts to show it. But also you have to think about what kind of other content your audience is liking, because everyone's algorithm's different, right? It all depends on what they interact with. So they might not see it right away. They might see it maybe a day or two later. So I don't think that's so much of like an issue with you. It's just kind of the nature of how the posts work and how social media works. Sam, I'm sure you'll have more good things to add to that.
No, you're completely right. And I think people get really het up about how many hashtags they should use.
Yeah.
And it's more about the right hashtags. If all the hashtags you're using have millions and millions of posts, then it's going to be really, really hard to get your post noticed in amongst that. So make sure you're using hashtags that actually don't have that big a number of posts. When you put a hashtag in and it tells you how many posts there are for that hashtag, make sure you're using some that are as low as sort of, from 1,000 up to maybe 50,000. Use some really low ones, because they really help to get you in front of people as well.
Yeah, that's a great tip.
Right. And one very famous influencer on Instagram once told me that if you think if there's going to be a page where Instagram will tell you that, these are my technical algorithms, that's not happening anytime, because they're never going to disclose it to you. And because as a platform, as a social media platform, they also want to ensure that your intent is right, the reason why you're in Instagram, and it's for you to figure out over a period of time as to how things work for you, because your journey can be different than someone else's journey on Instagram. And that's something that we have to come to terms with, and not just follow algorithms like a robot. So
Yes.
right. And so I'm so sad this session ends here. And I personally have a lot of questions, but we are limited by time here. And I'm also very thankful for the lovely audiences. They were here in copious amounts. However, they are going now. But guys, I know a lot of people registered to see the recording afterwards. So you receive a recording right after the session gets over, and you can always watch the replays. And a lot of our registrants do that because they cannot be here while the session is live. So this is not where it ends, guys. We have a lot of more events lined up for you in the coming days. The next event is on LinkedIn marketing. So if you guys are interested and haven't registered yet, I'm putting the link of our event section in the chat. where you can find all our upcoming events and register. The team would be putting up the link in the chat section. To stay updated with events like these, you can follow us on our LinkedIn page. You can also give us suggestions on the topics you would like us to cover and the speakers you want us to host. I am dropping the link of the LinkedIn page in the chat again. To watch this session and other such wonderful events, subscribe to our newsletter on designhill.com/events and visit our official YouTube channel on Designhill. The link will be there in the chat again. For all the designers and artists who are listening to this and wish to be a part of the thriving design community, come on designhill.com without a fail. Also, we are launching some cool design challenges of worth $7,000 in a month. Any designer or non-designer can be a part of it and create some awesome designs using our DIY design tool called Designhill Studio. So thank you so much, Dhariana and Sam. It has been so great talking to you both. And I'm sure the audiences will get in touch with you on your Instagram handles, which we have constantly shared on the chat section. Any last thoughts? How did you like the session? Any last thoughts that you would like to tell us and the audiences? Dhariana.
Yeah, this was great. I love this kind of format where we get to chat and exchange ideas, because so many other things come out of it, and I hope the audience enjoyed and got their questions answered. If not, you can follow me on Instagram, and Sam as well. I think we've lost Sam, but we both share a lot of our information on our Instagram channel. Oh, she's back. I was kind of plugging you there too.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for being here. And again, Sam and I both share a lot of resources and information on our Instagram channels. So definitely reach out to us there.
Sam?
Yeah, thank you so much. I agree. I completely love this format. It's so much more informal and completely different to just running a sort of PowerPoint and going through slides. I think it's really nice to interact with everyone's questions and to know what you're struggling with on Instagram as well. It is a great platform. Don't worry too much about the little intricacies. Don't worry that you have to have the perfect images, because you know what? If you're sharing nothing because you're waiting for perfect, you're going to get nothing from it. If you're sharing good, then you're going to get way more than if you're waiting for perfect. So just get on there and get posting, and yeah, do come and say hi as well. It'd be lovely to chat to you on there.
Great. Thank you so much, Dhariana and Sam, for taking out the time and being with us. And thank you so much, audiences. On that note, I would like to say bye to everyone who joined us here today. Take care, guys, and stay safe.
Take
See you
care.
later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.